that you need to find a niche where you could start, because the bigger the market is, like the bigger the competition is already at the beginning. But the niche needs to be big enough to fulfill your dreams. I mean, it could be, I just want to be a solo entrepreneur making 100,000 US dollar. Then you could work with a smaller niche. Then when you're like, I want to be the CEO of a Fortune 500 company, then your market needs to be probably bigger.
Hello, Cedric. Thank you so much for making time for this meeting. Could you tell us a little bit about yourself and Profile Bakery?
Yes, of course. Thank you for having me here. So first about me, I worked in different startups. For example, I worked in the car subscription, in a car subscription company, where we were one of the first ones in Switzerland. Then later on, I worked in an international moving company. Yeah, and then later on, I worked in another company. It's the same company as Profile Bakery, because Profile Bakery is one of our brands. And I'm not sure if you already know it, but we have a second brand, which are physical photographers in
Yes.
Switzerland and in Germany. And so that's also why we founded Profile Bakery. So we early on started to test on things like if people would do just upload a photo of themselves and then get a perfect application photo back, because our photo studios are specialized in application photos. And when we saw, hey, the AI trend is rising and rising, we told ourselves, hey, we need to be prepared for the future. But we didn't want it to steal like from one pocket in the other and say, oh, our AI solution is super successful. And just because we reroute all our customers. So that's why we founded around 2 years and 1 or 2 months ago, Profile Bakery. And Profile Bakery is like our AI brand, where we have everything with AI. And then we have our second brand, which is physical photographers, basically doing the same, but just in a studio. So that's the big difference, I would say.
That's really cool. So I just have like a small question, because you mentioned you have the background from a physical photography studio, right? So what are the kind of insights that you got from physical photography that have helped you refine the results that we get from Profile Bakery?
Yeah, they are different things. So how the photos should look like, but there are also regional differences, I would say. Just I think you interviewed some other companies which are based in France. For example, there it's not so common as, for example, in Switzerland and Germany to use photo for job applications. And as we are based in Switzerland and we have studios in Switzerland and Germany, we knew that. So we know like what certain clients want. But for example, in the United States, it's not very common to use a photo on the applications. So we also needed to learn some new things about other countries and cultures. And I mean, we knew that people or most of our clients use photos to apply for jobs. So we knew how to make the photos look right so they get hired, get a job interview. Because I mean, you also know it as an offer. When you publish a book or something, it's a lot the first image somebody sees, and it's the same with an application. So yeah, it's a lot from there. We knew already how to show it. When you booked, you also get a small CV template, because we know most clients use it to apply. Yeah, or some use it for business purposes, as you do. But a fresh CV never is an issue, I think so. So yeah.
Of course, that's so true. So you mentioned that you started Profile Bakery a little around 2 years ago, right? So how did you get your first customers, and how is the growth journey been so far?
Yeah, basically it was all an SEO work.
Mhm.
We get the first clients with SEO. We also did Google Ads, so I'm not 100% sure either of both. So, but because we ranked really fast for some keywords in the first place, both is possible. And since that, yeah, the growth was good. Sometimes it was better, sometimes it was worse. I don't know if somebody already told you, but at some point, Canva entered the market. I think you
Yeah.
cover it in your article. Is that correct?
No, I do not cover Canva.
Ah, okay. So the quality isn't good. So it's
Yeah,
not.
it's not good. Yeah, that's why I didn't cover it because the pictures look terrible.
Yes, but their SEO game is very, very
Yes,
good.
yes,
So they outrank, I think, all the competition
yeah,
worldwide.
they
Yeah, and for example, that was a drop. I mean, because I understand everybody which says, I want to try these AI headshots. Then, oh, there's a free one. Oh, that's great. I test a free one. Then you get a shocking result, like for Halloween or something like that.
yeah.
And then you don't do a paid one. So that was a little bit a drop, I would say, industry wide. But through yeah, smart decisions, smart add-ons, we recovered from that slash, I would say. And now we have some cool new ideas, some new partnerships in the pipeline, which will take place in the future. I would say in the next 1 to 3 months, there's a lot to come. And we already have a lot more in our backlogs where we know the users will be very happy to have these features, but I can't tell because we are slower than we like to be, as it always is in a startup where time is the most critical thing.
Right.
Yeah, so I would say it's going good, but we know what we need to do that it's going better. So I would say it's okay.
Okay. Very exciting that you mentioned new features and then you say you can't talk about them. But I do understand. Yeah, like I'm excited to see what all cool stuff you come up with. So my next
Thank you.
question is, right, like you mentioned, Canva entered the scene, right? And I think in the last few months, a lot of new AI headshot generator companies have come up. So, what are your plans to differentiate Profile Bakery from the competition so you can keep having the growth spurt that you initially experienced?
Yes, so I think there are different parts in here. I mean, when somebody's starting new, they need to come first up with the same quality. So quality is like one thing, like when you have a good restaurant, you recommend it to your friends. The
Yeah.
same is it with your AI picture. As you're doing it in your article, for example, you mentioned you don't recommend Canva because the quality isn't there.
Yes.
So that's one point. The quality is very important for us. So we track it. People get a free second run because we also had like customer, they were bold now, but they uploaded pictures with like big hair and everything from the past, like 10 years ago. We know that happens because some people, they don't have a lot of photos of themselves on their phones. So that's one point, so that you get a second rerun. We offer free tools to help you to customize a little bit your pictures. That's like the quality side. Then on the other side, I mean, there are some marketing initiatives where newbies have it a little bit harder to copy it. And the third part is like offering clients additional tools which provide a lot of value. I don't know if you use them when you booked with us. We, for example, have like a LinkedIn profile check, a CV check, stuff like that. I mean, depending on your use case, it's a little bit more or less useful. I mean, for you as a solo entrepreneur, I would say it's LinkedIn features may be useful or the LinkedIn backgrounds.
Yeah.
But the CV check, you don't need it. But for others which are applying for a job, it's very useful. So I would say it's based on these three major points where we try to differentiate ourselves.
Understood. And actually, I have tried so many AI headshot generator tools, and Profile Bakery was the only one where I had these options of having a CV and a LinkedIn profile check, right? In fact, when I got the pictures from Profile Bakery, I also got a CV template for free, which was super useful. I think this makes Profile Bakery one of the must-have tools for job seekers. And maybe that's how you're trying to position yourself in the market as well, right?
Correct. Yes, that's from our past experience, from our photo studio brand where we are coming from. So it's our main strength. Yes, correct.
Yeah, I think that experience that you have with the photo shoot, the studio, that translates into this app, and it makes a lot of sense that you have added this as add-on features. I'm sure they'll be super helpful for people out there. So that's really amazing work that you guys are doing. So my next question is regarding AI. Do you think AI is lowering the entry barrier for entrepreneurs? And do you think that in the future we might see a day where solo founder companies that use AI to build become unicorns or even bigger than that?
Yes, so I mean, to the first question, if AI is lowering the barriers, I'm 100% sure, at least for the digital space. I mean, when you're starting a gardening business, it helps maybe a little bit to create a website and stuff like that. But yeah, you need to put in the work. A garden doesn't do itself. And then about unicorns, I mean, I'm sure there will be, but I think because everybody could do it, like, I mean, you could work a day job as a cashier in a supermarket and like work 80% or even 90 and build something. So I think also the competition will be a lot higher because you don't need to take as much risk. Like, let's say you could work with a budget of $200 a month,
Yeah,
which is, for example, in Switzerland, it's like nothing because a cashier, for example, earns like 4,000 bucks, something like that. So it's doable for a lot of people.
yeah,
So the competition is a lot bigger. So I think it's also a lot harder. As you also mentioned in the question before, I mean, I think there's daily like 10 new AI headshot generators.
yes,
I think you will probably get 20 emails a day like, hey, could you test our
yeah,
tool that we were in the article? So for one to really stand out, I think it's a lot harder. So to get this valuation, I think it's hard, but I mean for sure there will be some which make this cut.
yes, yes. True, true. That's true. That's a very nice and balanced answer. Thank you so much
Thank you.
for sharing your insights. So, my next question is regarding your entrepreneurial journey. So, what are some cool lessons that you have learned so far? And any words of advice for people who are listening to this who want to start their own entrepreneurial journey? Maybe they want to build something with AI. Do you have any advice for them?
Yes, I think the hardest part is to stay focused. I mean, I see it every day. I see cool new other tools. Things I'm like, oh, we could integrate that. It would be amazing. But when you start like 10 things and then we finish just one because we jump too much, yeah, you're don't going forward. So focus is like the most important skill. Then the second important skill in my book is also being able to do things you don't like. Because, for example, I'm sure you know it, making bills, checking the invoices, stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, you need to do it, but for most people, it's not like they are getting excited about it. So that's the second thing which I think is important. And the third one is checking like user feedback. We are collecting a lot of user feedback to see what people want. So even in an early stage, when you have just an idea, this problem, maybe you are creating an accounting software. That's your idea because you hate accounting as a solo entrepreneur. You hated it and there was no good solution for it. And you know, like five other people which are also doing or could use it. So you talk to them and then see if there's a need. And then to be more concrete on somebody who wants to start, I think the first thing is that you need to find a niche where you could start because the bigger the market is, like the bigger the competition is already at the beginning. But the niche needs to be big enough to fulfill your dreams. I mean, it could be I just want to be a solo entrepreneur making 100,000 US dollar. Then you could work with a smaller niche than when you're like, I want to be the CEO of a Fortune 500 company, then your market needs to be probably bigger. And then I would check like if there's on social media things, are people posting about the issue? Are they posting about a solution? Are people researching about the topic like how to do accounting easy or accounting for solo entrepreneurs or tool for accounting, whatever comes to your mind, and then build like an MVP or a registration site where people could sign up. So you see already a little bit traction, because I think not only gives traction a validation for you, but it also is like a motivation. Because, for example, in your case, when you're writing an article and you see 0 views, it's like very frustrating. But when you're writing an article and you got the first 100 or 1,000 views, you're exciting to do more. So it helps with the motivation.
Yes.
Yeah, then I think it's just doing more marketing, talking with users. So you have to get the feedback in, because not everybody has the same needs. I think, for example, you as a writer have different needs than, for example, a photographer when it comes to accounting, because you maybe have like you get commission from the sales of your books, but then you also have corporations with companies, so where you need different invoices. And a photographer with a walk-in studio has like 15 clients a day with way lower volumes. So he can't have a solution where it's like per, how do you call it in English, per transaction, like
Yeah.
that. When he has 100 transaction, he needs to pay more. But for you it would be very fine, because in a month you have 10 transactions, but they are each way higher than for
Yeah.
the photographers.
Mhm.
I think that are the most important part. I hope it wasn't too unstructured.
No, 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 that definitely makes sense. And when you were talking about it, I had a moment of realization that when you're working on something, right? When you see traction, traction is the biggest motivator. Like when there is traction, anyone
Yes.
can keep working. But without traction, when you're just starting out, you don't get traction immediately, right? So that is the hardest part, and that's where most people give up because they feel it might not be worth it. So I guess it's important to keep working until you see some traction in any form. And then that will be like a self motivating. It will be like a circle. You work,
Yes.
you get results, and then you're more motivated to work even harder.
Yes, correct. And I think in the beginning it's the hardest. I mean, when you had like, let's say for an article, 1,000 views, to get on another article, 1,000 views is way
Yeah.
easier than for the first one. Or it's the same with like the first client. To get the first client, it's harder than, because you don't know where your clients are. You just could make assumption. When you have one, it's easier to get the second. And when you have 10, it's easier to get the next 10, and so on.
Yes, yes, absolutely. So, when we talk about entrepreneurship, right, the word that always comes is hustle. Like we have to constantly be on our toes, always think of new solutions, always be focused on what's next. So, how do you balance it out? Like, how do you personally handle the work-life balance aspect so you don't get burnout? Because burnout is also a real stress, right?
I think the most stress is there when you're doing the wrong things, because,
Yeah.
for example, we are lining up a new partnership, and then when we just focus on the real cash bringing partnerships and not on everything else, like, I don't know. I mean, it would be nice a redesign. I think we should do a redesign, but I know our conversion rate. I know what is like a normal conversion rate.
Mhm.
It's always about then prioritizing the right things, because we have like 300 cards in our board. So we could work 24/7 and it wouldn't be enough. But to be honest, some things or some ideas, they don't add any value. So it's about first prioritizing. And then when you prioritize the right things, then it's way easier to not overwork yourself, because you see directly traction. For example, let's say a partnership with somebody, which article is ranking on the first page for our main cash bringing keywords, is way more valuable than like writing 15 pages about niche topics,
Yeah.
like AI headshots for doctors with more than 15 years experience, like where 10 people search it, and yeah, in a month, and then maybe when you're lucky, three come to your page, because you don't rank for sure.
Yes.
So it's, for us, it's more about prioritizing the right things, and then we are able to not overwork ourselves, and because then you're satisfied because you have done something
Yeah.
really good.
So no, but my question was like, how do you personally handle work-life balance? Like, like maybe you can answer it in a different way. Like, how does an average day in your life look like as a co-founder?
That's a very good question, because in a startup, I think there's no day which looks like another.
Mm-hmm.
What should I say? How do I manage it? I mean, I have my core working hours, and the rest I take off. For example, I use the concentration modus on my smartphone on the weekends. So to really stay off, because there's always something you
Yeah.
think about, you can do. But I think the best ideas come when you're off work,
Yeah.
like when you're, let's say you're playing tennis or something like that with friends, and then somehow it makes click and you have the solution for your problem. I don't know. We should get a partnership with the Washington Post or whatever, and then it makes click. Hey, why I doesn't send them a package of chocolate with a small code for our product, because I know chocolate in Switzerland tastes better than in the USA or whatever, and
Yeah.
nobody does that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so it's more about making yourself space because there's nobody else telling you.
Yes.
And so normally I work between 7 and 12 and 1 and 6 o'clock.
Okay.
But it's not always like full 10 hours. It's more like at some point I going to get breakfast. And then it's like between 8 and 9 hours, Monday to Friday.
Okay. Got
So yeah, I think it didn't really answer it, but it's really hard to say because I think I'm so into my rhythm,
it.
how I do it. So yeah, so it's really staying about the core working hours so that you set yourself working hours. What also there is important for me next to my focus mode on the phone at the weekend is that I, for example, never work in the room where I sleep. I don't know how you handle that because I think it makes it easier. Even when you, for example, you're starting your business and you don't have an office, when you're working in the kitchen and not in the bedroom, I think even that is better to be able in the evening to relax and not
Yes.
always think about it.
Yes.
And then the third thing I like to do is like after work, I'm going for a walk or something like that. So just to clean my head, because else it's like spinning around. Oh, I was working on this partnership. I need to do this 15 things, and I think it will be very big.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's always a next thing.
Of course, of course. Awesome. I did get an answer to that. Thank you so much for being candid. So, my last question, just to wrap it up, is what are the future plans that you have planned for Profile Bakery and any cool things that you'd like to share with the people who are watching it right now?
That's a very good question. A lot of things I can't tell. Some will launch soon, some later. But what I can say, because we are launching it very soon and we already had our beta users testing it, or some users we allowed to test it, we launched a feature where you can actually prompt yourself. So after you generated your
Wow.
picture with us, you could write your own prompt. We also help you a little bit, like because we are asking some questions like the haircut, stuff like that, which you for sure will forget, or if you have glasses or not. And then you could prompt yourself. If you like, you can also test it. But it just works when you already bought the package with us
Yes.
because we are using the same trained model. So, because then it's more cost effective to do it. If else we need to train always a new model, you always need to search new pictures. It's like that's one thing I already can tell you. We are integrating it at the moment in our software. But you already can test it if you like.
I would definitely love to do that. Yeah.
Perfect. I will send it over to you later on.
Sure.
And then other things like some new partnerships, they will be announced soon, but I can't tell at the moment. And then there will be sure new things for job seekers because we think there's really a value to make for people to make their lives better. I think so. I mean, you don't have this issue as a solo entrepreneur. You don't need to apply for jobs, but I'm sure your friends do,
Yes.
and I think there are studies, if I remember it correct, which say 60% of the people they are willing to change their job or don't like their actual job. So it's a very high percentage. I'm not sure if it was like for Switzerland or Germany. But I mean, most of these people, they have like a family, they don't have the time. They are overwhelmed with doing applications. So I think there's a very big potential to help these people to have more freedom and have a better life. So in this area, there will for sure come more that I can tell, but not the details.
Of course, understood. So, thank you so much, Cedric, for your time on this interview. Thank you so much for sharing your insights. I had a great time talking to you, and I'm sure people who are listening had an amazing time as well. Just a quick note for all of you who are watching. If you'd like to check out Profile Bakery, I have put the link in the description of this video. So make sure to check it out. And thank you so much, Cedric. Bye.
Perfect. Thank you a lot. Bye.